campaign proceeding on medical leave. A statement on Tuesday by its Chief Press Secretary, Richard Olatunde, stated that the governor, in line with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, has transferred power to his deputy, Lucky Ayedatiwa. Ondo State Governor Arakunrin Oluwarotimi Akeredolu SANCON will commence his medical leave today, December 13, 2023, as a follow-up to his medical treatment. During his medical leave, Governor Akeredolu will prioritize his health and ensure a full recovery before resuming his official duties. A formal letter regarding the medical leave and a notice formally transferring power in line with the Nigerian Constitution will be transmitted to the House of Assembly. Governor Akeredolu expresses his gratitude for the unwavering support and affection of the people of Ondo State. He assures them that his administration remains committed to the path of progress and prosperity for the people. The Ondo State government has reiterated its commitment to further create an enabling environment for businesses and investments to thrive. The State Commissioner for Commerce, Industry and Cooperative Services, Akinwumi Sowore, spoke at the meeting held with artisans and traders in Akure, Ondo State capital. Osrc reporter Zima Ebene covered the report as presented from our studio.
The meeting, which had in attendance business owners, artisans and heads of market traders, to address their concerns about business networking, the Commissioner for Commerce, Industry and Cooperative Services, Akinwumi Sowore, said the state is endowed with vast mineral resources which could be tapped into. He said government is ready to partner with individuals or groups to tap into these potentials. Mr. Sowore said the state government has put in place policies and a strong security architecture to ensure ease of doing business. He assured the artisans and the heads of market traders that a template on export strategy and guidelines for 2023 to 2030 is being put in place to assist business owners.
Exportation is one of the major key players in economic growth. The more we export and the less we import, the more our surplus sees balance of trade increases and the better for our nation. This is the reason the state government is taking a bull by the horns to come up with a robust and functional strategy and guideline for seamless and remarkable export operations in Ondo State.
The guest speaker, Dr. Patrick Tolani, took the participants through the importance and benefits of international trade.
Is to let participants of this stakeholders meeting or stakeholders engagement to really understand the framework of international trade. See, people just believe you can export, but there are lots of rules that guide the export business that an average farmer or an average producer of different things know nothing about. And these are the things that govern what they do.
Participants described the engagement as timely.
Enhance our product in Ondo State to be exported. And if we are not exporting, how do we earn dollars? How do we earn sterling? How do we earn fortune for the state? And that's why the Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Industries is now organizing a forum like this, such that we can have a full understanding on the documents that are required for export strategies in Ondo State.
There should be actual engagement hereafter, and the Permanent Secretary and the Commissioner have graciously agreed to that proposal, that there should be proper engagement where nitty-gritty of many of these things will be discussed, so we can actually have a true roadmap that we are going to follow to be able to achieve our goals.
They expressed optimism that such engagement will no doubt galvanize economic activities in the state.
A building has collapsed at Ayedun Street in Akure. the Ondo State capital, killing 2 people, including a 9-day-old baby. And overhead water tanks were said to have fallen on the story building, thus wreaking the havoc. Mother and the 9-day-old baby, who was christened the baby, and their grandmother sustained varying degrees of injuries. As at the time of this report, security personnel have evacuated the dead bodies, while the wounded ones are now receiving treatment at an unknown hospital. Details later. The Executive Secretary of the Universal Basic Education Commission, Dr. Hamid Boboye, has reiterated the Commission's commitment to tackling the menace of out-of-school children in the country. He also charged heads of public relations and protocol across the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory on and its implications for UBE program implementation held in Nasarawa State. A statement by the head Public Relations and Protocol Unit of UBE, David Akwe, quoted Boboya saying that media remains critical to the successful implementation of UBE programs and activities across the states of the Federation. The Trade Union Congress has warned the federal government to, with immediate effect, pay all federal civil servants their 35,000 naira wage award as agreed during a meeting that was held following the removal of fuel subsidy. The TUC President Festus Osifo gave the warning in Abuja at a press briefing shortly after the Congress Emergency National Executive Council meeting. The Congress noted that it had it in good authority that workers had only received 1 month payment that was meant for September, and then that only a few workers had been paid for the second time. Osifo also warned all the 36 state governors and the Minister of the The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Besaido, has said that the amount allocated to her ministry in the 2024 budget was not capable of fighting poverty. About the 28% increase in the overhead ceiling is not commensurate to the 27.33% inflationary rate in the economy today. The federal government says Nigeria gets about 40,000 megawatts of electricity from generators powered by criminal motor spirit, popularly called petrol, and those run by automotive gas oil. These are the ministerial summit on integrated national electricity policy and strategic implementation plan, while examining the key challenges to Nigeria's electricity reliability through the prism of governance, adherence to rules and contracts, and finance. Generation and supply from East National Grid reports between 3,005 megawatts and 4,500 megawatts for an estimated population of 200 million people. In his address at the summit, the Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, pointed out that one of the main objectives of the Nigerian electricity sector reform program initiated over 23 years ago was to make electricity available to consumers across the country with efficiency and consistency. The Lagos State Police Command has a new commissioner of police. The new commissioner of police, Fayode Adegoke Mustafa, would replace Idowu Owonwa, who was recently promoted to the rank of the Assistant Inspector General of Police. The Lagos State Police spokesman, Benjamin Udeyi, confirmed the deployment of Fayode to Lagos Command. Udeyi said the new CP is likely to resume any moment from today. Following the death of 10 persons on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, the Federal Road Safety Corps has warned drivers to always rest before embarking on a trip. Reports say that the crash, which occurred in the early hours, involved two vehicles, a Toyota Hiace marked FKY 898YF and an unregistered Iveco tipper. Out of the 18 male adults involved in the crash, 7 were injured, while 10 were recovered dead. The FRSC spokesperson in Ogun, Florence Okwe, said the suspected cause of the fatal crash was excessive speed, which led to loss of control, and the bus rammed into the tipper that was about to negotiate the turning. The sector commander of the FRSC in Ogun State, Anthony Uga, said he was pained over the fatal crash, saying it could have been avoided if necessary caution had been put in place. A young man and his girlfriend have died after reportedly inhaling fumes of a generator locked inside their apartment overnight in Ubori Koko community, Ufie local government area of Delta State. Reports gather that the man, whose identity was not readily available, celebrated his girlfriend's birthday party together with the lover at a nightclub. It was gathered that on leaving the party, the duo left the club and went to the ladies' shop and put on the generator inside before sleeping off, and they died before daybreak. The lifeless bodies of the two lovebirds were reportedly recovered in the room by neighbors in the early hours of the day. The police public relations officer for Delta State Command, DSP Bright Edafe, confirmed the gory incident during a telephone chat with journalists. Sympathizers have been condemning the deceased for causing their family's pain. This yuletide, while some others believed that it could be an act of evil manipulators by their enemies. Australian police has charged a man living in urban Sydney with sending 17 million scam text messages, one for almost every adult in the country. New South Wales police said the unnamed 39-year-old man was single-handedly responsible for scam texts that have been plaguing mobile phone users across the country. The texts included fake link purporting to be from Australia Post or toll road operators and were allegedly sent using SIM boxes that can send tens of thousands of messages per day. The man was charged with using networked equipment to commit serious offense and granted bail. Japan's Prime Minister Fumio Kishida was expected to announce the sacking of 4 ministers over a major party financing scandal. Those to be axed include Handman, Chief Cabinet Secretary Hirokazu Masuno, Yasutoshi Nishimura, the Minister of Economy, Industry and Trade. Others are Internal Affairs Minister Junji Suzuki and Agriculture Minister Ichiro Miyashita, plus 5 deputy ministers. Kishida, 66, whose ratings have plummeted since taking office in October 2021, was expected to announce the decision at a news conference. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has failed to secure a breakthrough with Congress as it remains firmly deadlocked over President Biden's request for additional U.S. military assistance, even though many lawmakers appeared to agree that the war's outlook would only worsen without the continuation of American support. Zelensky told lawmakers that his country will never give up in its fight to expel invading Russian forces. Akin today, Akin Shemola has more.
A year ago, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky received standing ovations in the U.S. Congress in his first overseas trip since Russian troops invaded his country.
Ukraine is alive and kicking.
He was seen as a fierce defender of an underdog nation that has stopped Moscow's mighty army at the gates of Kyiv, and Congress approved more than $110 billion in aid. But a year later, Zelensky is back in Washington and running into a wall of partisan gridlock. Instead of addressing joint sessions of Congress, he met behind closed doors with lawmakers. Congress has approved no new assistance for Kyiv since a Republican majority took power last January. Republicans have been reluctant to sign up a funding request from Democratic President Joe Biden. Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson said after meeting with Zelensky that Biden's administration must provide more detail about how the money will be used.
What the Biden administration seems to be asking for is billions of additional dollars, appropriate oversight, no clear strategy to win, and none of the answers that I think the American people are owed.
Meanwhile, the clock is ticking down. The White House told Congress earlier this month the government will no longer have funding to provide more weapons for Ukraine after the end of the year. Democratic Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said Ukraine needed the assistance as soon as possible.
He needs the aid quickly. If we don't give the aid quickly, several things will happen. First, the military needs, but second, Europe and many other allies will say, what is going on here? They're not giving them the aid. Thank you.
There are just 2 days before Congress recesses for the year on Friday, and Republicans in the House have until now refused to pass a spending package bill that contains $61.4 billion in Ukraine aid, unless it also includes to stop migrants from crossing the southern U.S. border. Bolstered by billions of dollars in U.S. arms, humanitarian aid and intelligence, Ukraine was able to fend off Russia's initial attempt to sweep the country. But Kyiv failed to break through Russian defensive lines in a major counter-offensive push this year, and Russia is now on the offensive in the east. Akintunde Akinshemola for Osrc News.
A looming election rematch next year between U.S. President Joe Biden and his predecessor, Donald Trump, will be closely fought, with both candidates saddled with profound vulnerabilities that will cost them the White House. Biden, an 81-year-old Democrat, continues to be plagued by voters' doubts about the strength of the economy, as well as concerns about the security of the U.S.-Mexico border and worries about crime. Aderoke Kolawole has.
A looming election rematch next year between U.S. President Joe Biden and his predecessor Donald Trump would be a closely fought contest, according to a Reuters Ipsos poll. Nationwide, the poll put Trump 2 percentage points up in a head-to-head matchup, with 38% of Biden 36%.
Need a landslide so big that the radical left cannot rig it or steal it, the bigger it is.
But presidential elections aren't decided by the popular vote. The state-by-state electoral college system used to pick president means that voters in just a handful of states will play a decisive role in the election's outcome. In the 7 states where the election was closest in 2020, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Arizona, Georgia, Nevada, North Carolina, and Michigan, Biden had a 4-point lead among Americans who said they were sure to vote.
I've never been more optimistic about America's future than today. We just have to remember who we are. We're the United States of America.
The poll shows Biden, an 81-year-old Democrat, is saddled with voters' doubt about his age and the strength of the economy. The poll pointed to proven vulnerability for Trump, as well as the 77-year-old battles for criminals trials. The poll found 31% of Republican respondents said they would not vote for Trump if he was convicted of a felony crime by a jury. He has denied any criminal wrongdoing. But the independent bid launched by Robert F. Kennedy Jr., an attorney and vast skeptic, could tip the scales towards Trump. The poll found that just 16% of respondents said they vote for Kennedy, but that pulled support away from Biden, growing Trump's lead to 5 points nationwide. The poll, conducted online December 5th to 11th, surveyed roughly 4,400 American adults nationwide and had a credible interval, a measure of precision, of about 2 percentage points. Aderunke Kolawole, Osrc News.
And now to sports, Victor Osimhen, fresh off his award win, has played a vital role in Napoli's 2-0 victory against FC Braga. This was less than 24 hours of his accolade as African Player of the Year. Azizat Oshoala also clinched the top prize in the female category. The report is presented from our studio.
Victor Osimhen.
Congratulations to Victor Osimhen. Big win.
Nigeria's Victor Osimhen and Assistant Oshoala were crowned African Footballer of the Year on Monday.
A very well-deserved award.
Less than 24 hours later, Osimhen was on target for his club Napoli in their 2-0 win over Sporting Braga of Portugal. The striker had scored 26 goals as he helped Napoli to a surprise triumph. Barcelona forward Oshoala won the women's accolade for the record 6th time at the ceremony in Marrakesh. She battled through injury to help Nigeria to round 16 of the World Cup in Australia. Nigeria also took the trophy for National Team of the Year in the women's category, Morocco in the men's. Morocco coach Walid Regnagro, Coach of the Year after a thrilling run to the World Cup semi-finals in Qatar. South Africa's Desi Ellis won Women's Coach of the Year for the 4th time in succession.
Yassine Bono, et pour recevoir le trophée, j'appelle le sélectionneur de l'équipe nationale, Monsieur Walid Regnagro, sous vos applaudissements, mesdames, messieurs.
Congratulations.
Binga, Oluwachano, Osrc News.
Now with that sports story, we conclude the word at noon. Many thanks